Other sections of the strategy described in the narrative are mobilising increased resources. This section describes how the Global Fund will continue to raise sufficient funding to sustain its support for HIV, TB and malaria programmes, as well as the COVID response. Although it's clear that this is a critical element of Global Fund work, and sex workers will benefit from a fully funded Global Fund, it's difficult to see how or where sex workers can contribute. The daily challenges faced by sex workers take up more than enough time and energy, so this section is probably best left to those organisations who work on global and national resource mobilisation. Then there is Objective 7, which is the evolving objective, contribute to pandemic preparedness and response. Having this evolving objective in the strategy introduces a new aspect to the focus of the Global Fund. This has both positive and negative connotations and was the subject of intense debate during the development of the strategy. Very much driven by the Executive Director and the Secretariat, its stated inclusion is to help the world address COVID-19 and seek to protect HIV, TB and malaria gains and build resilient, sustainable systems for health, while engaging in ongoing global discussions with partners and the G7, G20 about future roles, responsibilities, and how to build a better system to prepare for and respond to pandemics. Now, this can be viewed positively and certainly makes sense from both a political and public and global health perspective. However, there is a concern that the focus on this evolving objective will have a negative impact on HIV, TB and malaria because the strategy narrative also states, but more and additional funds will be required if we are to fully deliver on this evolving objective and avoid diluting our work to fight HIV, TB and malaria. The unspoken concern is that this evolving objective becomes more of a prime priority than HIV, TB and malaria, and that funding will be diverted to ensure the evolving objective is delivered. The narrative outlines 8 interventions related to this section, but there is almost nothing of interest or that offers encouragement for sex workers in these interventions. So slide 8. Let's look at the Global Fund Partnership. The next section covers partnership enablers, how we work. The Global Fund promotes itself as a partnership, and partnership enablers are how each element in the partnership contributes to the effectiveness of the Global Fund and therefore the effectiveness of the implementation of the strategy. To begin with, the narrative simply states what the role of each entity of the Global Fund Partnership is and naturally presents this in a positive way. However, we feel there is a more realistic interpretation of the Global Fund Partnership family. Country ownership. Now, country ownership is a problem for sex workers and many key population communities who are routinely criminalised by their countries. Technical partners, who too often side with governments and can be antagonistic towards key populations. Implementer governments, many who have track records of being anti-key population and only interested in how much money they can get from the Global Fund. Country coordinating mechanisms, who exclude key populations when they can get away with it. Communities and civil society, who could contribute more if they had the resources and investment. Principal recipients, who too often play safe or play politics in their selection of sub-recipients. Development partners, including donors, who each have their own agendas. Private sector, including private foundations, well, it's difficult to know what they think. Technical Review Panel and Grant Approvals Committee, who both make very questionable decisions about grants. Local fund agents, who get a lot of money for very little output. And the Office of Inspector General, who are pretty good, but still not being accessed enough by sex workers and other key populations. And the Secretariat, populated by too many people who do not understand and have no experience of the realities faced on a daily basis by key populations, and too little respect for the contribution that can be made by sex workers. And finally, the board, who are too focused on their own agendas and too afraid of honest discussion. This is a more honest assessment of the Global Fund Partnership model. The points as listed in the strategy narrative say nothing of substance or importance. Mostly they are statements about an ideal vision, a world that does not exist and are of little or no interest to sex workers and other key populations unless there is significant change. Finally, there is a section entitled Implementation, Performance and a Call to Action. The narrative states the following. This new strategy for the Global Fund Partnership is designed to recover our progress toward our primary mission of ending AIDS, TB and malaria, address new pandemic challenges, and deepen our commitment to equitably improving the health of people and communities. The success of this strategy will be determined by the quality of its implementation over the quality of its text. We shall see. Slide 9. Just a quick conclusion. The Global Fund Strategy 2023 to 2028 is a significant improvement on the previous strategy. It is more ambitious, more nuanced, and communities, at least as stated, will have an enhanced role in decisions and processes during the 6 years covered by the strategy. The strategy does offer a number of opportunities to augment the role sex workers have in global fund processes, strengthening CCMs to facilitate an inclusive process, the increased focus on maximising engagement and leadership of affected communities, and the commitment to leave no one behind, maximising health equity, gender equality, human rights, and the overall intention to place communities at the centre, all have the potential to offer increased opportunities for sex workers to be visible and influential within global fund processes. But these opportunities won't appear automatically, and we need to stay vigilant and aware of how the strategy is implemented and reflected at country level, and if it is making a difference. And think about how we can use the strategy to hold the Global Fund and national processes to account. The new strategy offers hope for change, but as always, time will tell if this Global Fund strategy of 2023 to 2028 is strong enough to overcome the challenges sex workers face on a daily basis. The Global Fund has been effective in supporting disease responses. The question is, will this strategy enable the Global Fund to do even better? Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful. See you in the next NSWP Global Fund Basics video. Bye.